Hitachi Data Systems Universal Storage Platform VM is an enterprise storage solution that customers can install into their existing 19-inch rack. This video will focus on the physical setup of a standard configuration for a model DKC6151 Universal Storage Platform VM. At the end of this training, you should be able to identify the major system components of the USPVM. Next, you will install the high-density disk drives into the DKUs. Each DKU holds 60 of these drives. To install the drives, you will release the locking mechanism by lifting the blue tab, insert the drive into the unit, and slide it all the way to the back. Looking into the DKU, you can see the backplane connectors. The opposite end of these connectors is on each high-density disk. As you slide the high-density disk into the slot, make sure that the connector seats firmly and lock it in place by pushing the lever until it clicks. Repeat until all of the drives have been installed. Be sure to refer to the configuration diagram on page LOC02-30 in the maintenance manual for more information on installing the high-density disk drives. Identify which chassis on the DKU that the cables will be connected to. Remember, the lower chassis on each DKU is 01 and the upper chassis is 23. We begin the installation by connecting the first set of blue cables to B1, A2, and A1. Then we now connect the blue cables to B2, A4, and A3. We now go back to the cables that we installed on the right side of the 2-3 chassis on the DKU R1 and connect them to the left side of the 2-3 chassis onto DKU RK0. When inserting the cables, make sure that they snap in place and gently tug on them to ensure that they are seated properly. It is also important to keep the cables from becoming twisted or kinked. For a detailed diagram on connecting the data and control cables between the DKU Once the 8 sets of data and control cables are connected, you will secure them to the right side of each DKU chassis with the clamps provided. You can open these clamps by using your thumbnail to release the clasp and sliding the two halves of the clamp apart. To reconnect, simply slide the two halves of the clamp together until they lock. Each cable is marked with a light gray band, which shows you where the cables will attach to the clamp. As you attach each cable into the clamp, make sure that it is seated at the center of this band. You will attach the 2 sets of black cables in one clamp and 2 sets of blue cables in another. Next, close the clamp and ensure that it is locked. You will now attach the clamp with the blue cables directly above the clamp with the black cables on the right side of the DKU chassis. You will use a fastening strip to attach each clamp to the stud on the chassis. Insert the fastening strip into the lower eyelid on the The maintenance manual also contains additional information on switches and indicator LEDs found on the DKC and DKUs. You may now connect the USPVM to the main AC power sources. It is critical to ensure that the main power cables are connected properly. The USPVM utilizes redundant power supplies to prevent system shutdown. This concludes the physical setup of the Universal Storage Platform VM. You may now start the machine and begin the configuration phase of the installation.